And amid the ongoing mass hunger strike at Guantanamo Bay, U.S. military officials have disclosed 2 recent suicide attempts by protesting detainees. They also defended a prison guard raid on cells over the weekend, which resulted in violent clashes with several inmates. And earlier, my colleague Bill Dodd spoke with Moazzam Beg, who was released from Guantanamo without charge after 2 years. And he doesn't believe Obama is prepared to deliver on his pledge to close the facility.
There has to be a will, and I don't think that the will exists. Certainly, if you've still got people in Guantanamo 11 years since the invasion of Afghanistan, and there's no practical will to send these individuals to places where they're supposed to have a basic, normal life, then I don't know where the will is going to come to have troops withdrawn when still problems that were instituted at the time of Bush have not been cleared at the time of Obama.
If you were in there now, in Guantanamo, would you go on hunger strike?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's no doubt about it in my mind, because the hunger strike is an action of desperation. They know very well in Guantanamo that the only way you can get your rights is by taking extreme measures. And of course, the hunger strike is something that's been going on and off for the past 11 years. This time round, I think that the numbers that I've heard of from the lawyers and so forth is it's close to 3/4 of the prisoners that are there, because they've been there for such a long time. Almost none of them have been charged with any recognizable crime. And had they been convicted of a crime of terrorism, they would have served their sentences by now, most of them. And I think that that's what the prisoners there are protesting about. They're protesting about the conditions, they're protesting about the water. And I remember the water that used to come from the taps at the time when I was there, it used to be yellow and undrinkable. And not much has changed in that regard, at least. The abuses, the religious abuses are still taking place. The prisons are still complaining about those things through their lawyers. And even one of them has just recently written something through his lawyer in one of the American papers. And when he talks about that you people are slowly killing us without establishing any evidence against us at all.
And this comes as an independent American think tank releases a report accusing top U.S. officials of being responsible for torture at Guantanamo Bay. The Constitution Project concluded it was indisputable that abuse had been carried out there, while the practice has damaged America's moral standing and actually put U.S. personnel at greater risk worldwide. The panel added that doors remain open to further torture as long as no one is brought to account for what already happened. And Ambassador James R. Jones, who helped compile the report, says most detainees at Guantanamo have completely lost hope.
You have the majority of these prisoners for whom our government has said there's no reason to hold them anymore. We don't want them. They're not accused of anything, and yet they have not taken the actions that are necessary to remove these prisoners from Guantanamo and send them back to their home countries or to a neutral country where they will not be tortured. Force feeding, under the circumstances we found, is tantamount to torture. What is inhumane is a treatment for some prisoners in solitary confinement for many, many hours at a time, sometimes many days. The separation from other prisoners so that you don't have that social contact. That is a form of torture that should be stopped. I think the biggest torture, however, for the majority of the prisoners in Guantanamo is the lack of hope. The fact that they thought that after they were adjudged by our government as not necessary, not terrorists, not needed for information, that they should be released. And now they're concerned in many of these that are on these starvation diets. Many of these, I understand, have just lost hope. They think they'll never be able to leave Guantanamo, and that's the reason for their action.
And you can find out how the Guantanamo hunger strike has been unfolding on our website. We've been following it since it first became public, hearing from former detainees, lawyers, activists and experts, as well as showing videos from the facility. All that at RT.com.